Don't believe everything you hear these days, and you don't have to believe what I'm going to share today, but I invite you to listen with an open heart. Some of you might feel a stirring when you hear this, and that stirring might result in hope. Like many of you, I've searched for ways to make sense out of the events of the last week, and I hope that what I'm going to share can do that. Just for fun, consider if what I'm going to say is true. Because you probably can see that Charlie Kirk lives on after being killed. His memory, his legacy, the baton he has passed. People are sharing clips of him. People are sharing pictures of him. Someone wants to make a statue of him, not because they worship him, but because he inspired hope. He touched people deeply. And there's a shock at his seemingly senseless loss. Charlie Kirk came up against a power of darkness because it's darkness that thinks it can win by snuffing out life. Charlie Kirk spoke truth. He spoke in love. He conveyed hope. And someone enveloped in darkness didn't like that. So they snuffed him out. Foolish fiend. It's a fool's errand to think you can win that way. But we've seen this type of showdown before. Thankfully, not very often, but we've seen it before. Stalin, Mao, Pol Pot, Idi Amin. Those names are familiar to you. People who killed their own people in the pursuit of progress. But what about Colonel Theoneste? He organized the systematic genocide against the Tutsi people of Rwanda in Africa in 1994. During 3 months, 1 in 5 Rwandans died at the hands of their neighbors in a savagery that at one time was truly beyond our imagination. 800,000 people died in less than 3 months. The genocide was barbaric. In addition to the death and destruction it brought, it resulted in unprecedented numbers of orphans throughout Rwanda, reverberating for generations. It led to one of the largest displacements of refugees in modern times. 2 million people fled to the Congo for safety. The bloodthirsty Interahamwe militia paralyzed the economy of Rwanda through fear, violence, and terror. Before the genocide, Rwanda was a country of 7 million people. In stark contrast to the brutality of all that, let's consider a story told by Jesus in the 16th chapter of St. Luke's Gospel, the story of Lazarus and the rich man. The rich man died and experienced torment, but he could see Abraham together with a beggar named Lazarus, and he called out, "Father Abraham, please save me from this torment." When that didn't work, he asked that Abraham would send Lazarus to warn his 5 brothers so that they could reform their lives and avoid a similar fate. I share the story in contrast because imagine if someone could have foreseen the genocide of Rwanda. And imagine if they could have warned the people of Rwanda. But look, there are people who claim that someone came back from the dead to warn the people of Rwanda more than 10 years in advance. Is that possible? Abraham said to the rich man, if someone should come back from the dead, no one would listen. Is that true? Would you listen if someone came back from the dead? And if I say that Mary, the mother of Jesus, came back to warn the people of Rwanda, would you dismiss that? We don't worship Mary any more than people who want to build a statue of Charlie Kirk worship him. By calling Mary our Blessed Mother, are we different than the rich man who called out, Father Abraham? Mary is not a goddess. We don't worship her. And St. Paul in 1 Corinthians said he became our Father through the gospel. How much more is Mary our spiritual mother considering Jesus entrusted us to her from the cross. Yes, Mary did come back to warn the people about the genocide in Rwanda before it happened. Will you ignore that? Abraham said if people don't believe Moses and the prophets, they won't believe if someone should come back from the dead. Which camp do you fall in? Anathali Mukamazimpaka, Mary Claire Mukangango, Alphonsine Mumureke. These are the names of the 3 young girls who claim that Mary appeared to them and warned them about the coming genocide. Why would they lie? Indeed, their warnings came true. Why would we ignore them? You might be thinking, if this is true, why haven't I heard this before? And the answer is so simple and yet maddening. Because if you expect that someone who knows about this should tell others, I have to let you in on a little secret. You now know about this. Will you tell others? Mary came to Rwanda in the 1980s to warn the world, not just about the genocide that was coming to Rwanda, but that what was going to happen in Rwanda in 1994 would happen in the whole world. She also asked that the 7 Sorrows devotion be reintroduced in the world. That's why I wrote a book about the 7 Sorrows of Mary, because I can't let Mary's warning go unheeded. I don't want what happened in Rwanda to happen again. I don't want what happened in Rwanda to happen in my country, in my state, in my neighborhood. I see people with bumper stickers that say, if you want peace, work for justice. Last week, a guy thought he was working for justice when he killed Charlie Kirk. How'd that work out? When Mary came to warn us, she said that she is the only one who can obtain peace. This reminds me of Genesis 18, when Abraham asks God to spare the people of Sodom. Was Abraham the only person who could have interceded on behalf of Sodom? I don't know. All I know is that someone warned about the genocide of Rwanda more than 10 years before it happened. How foolish would it be for us to ignore that warning, that it was meant for us as well? Mary said, this is a warning for the whole world. When I first wrote this book, I couldn't imagine violence like the Rwandan genocide happening in our country. But it doesn't matter because I believed in the warning. Now I can imagine the violence like the Rwandan genocide. Mary asked that the 7 Sorrows devotion be reintroduced in the world. So I prayed the 7 Sorrows Rosary. Will you join me? Or will you wait until it's too late? After writing this first book, and after praying the 7 Sorrows Rosary daily, I have learned so much. So much that I wrote another book, Treasures of Grace. And the 7 Sorrows Rosary can teach you about the petitions of the Our Father. It can teach you about the Beatitudes. It can help you grow in virtue. It can help you learn the corporal works of mercy. It can help you learn the spiritual works of mercy. There's 21 reflections on the 7 Sorrows in this book. There were 7 in this first book for a total of 28. Please pray the 7 Sorrows Rosary. Please heed the warning of Kibeho. You can find these books on Amazon. You can find them at sorrowtojoy.com. Okay? Let's not let this warning go unheeded. And here's something to consider after the events in our country last week, because the inciting incident of the genocide that took place in Rwanda was the assassination of their president. Last week, our country witnessed a horrific assassination. Last year, there were 2 assassination attempts on the life of our current president. What can we do? Can we change the tone of our public debate? Can we change laws? Can we change social media? Can we change curriculum? Here's something we can do every day. Pray the rosary. Pray the Seven Sorrows Rosary every day. It only takes 20 minutes. Join me. Go to sorrowtojoy.com, look for these books, and you don't have to buy my books. You can learn the Seven Sorrows Rosary. It's very easy. You can find how to pray the Seven Sorrows Rosary on the website, sorrowtojoy.com. Let's not let this warning go unheeded. And let's work for peace. Let's pray for peace. Let's do that by praying to Mary.